And beginning in child's pose, this is going to be a really sweet yin yoga practice. If you're new to yin yoga simply means holding postures anywhere from 3 to 5 minutes. For our purpose today, this is a shorter practice, so we won't really hold anything longer than 3 minutes. But if you'd ever like to extend this practice, you could extend some of these shapes out. But go ahead and bring the big toes together, open the knees out wide. And starting in child's pose, gently rest the forehead to the mat. And with the hips dropping back toward the heels, close the eyes. And just start to move into your breath. There's a soft contraction at the back of your throat so that there's a really sweet sound of your breath. And the sound of your breath for this practice is important. It's going to be there to give the mind an anchor, something to root into. And it's also going to help calm the nervous system. So your breath is there not only to soothe the body, but also to soothe the sensations, the thoughts, the energies that might arise by tapping into some of these channels as we stretch deep. So with the breath set, with the eyes closed and the body soft, staying down low, really gently reach both arms forward if they're not already there. And then softly just crawl yourself over to the right. So staying in a child's pose shape, walk both hands over toward the right thigh. The chest starts to drape over the right knee. And the left arm will reach a little bit further than the right. And as you press down into the palms, you'll start to feel a deepening into the left hip crease. With the forehead pouring down, see if you can use the mind and really direct the breath into the left lung. As if you could energetically send more breath into the left side of the body than the right. Sensing into the long line of energy that you're creating from the crease of the left hip all the way through the tips of the left fingers. And with the breath still deep and the body soft, crawl yourself back through the center line and then all the way over to the left. So same thing as you pour your chest down. And as you land in the shape, do a little scan. Is there anywhere in the body that tried to help out that you don't need right now? So for example, did the jaw become a little bit tense, or did the shoulders hike up toward the ears? And is there some way that you can soften into the shape that you're taking in this moment? And with the same dedication towards stillness and with compassion, breathe into the right lung. Fill the right waist with breath. And maybe you even sense that the low back, the place where your pants gently rest, could even rise and fall with the breath as it draws in and out. And really taking your time on the inhale, coming back through the center line. Reach the arms forward toward the top of the mat. And with the hands about the distance of the shoulders, rise to all fours, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips, coming into just a gentle tabletop pose. Tops of the feet flat to the mat, and a couple rounds of cat-cow here. On the inhale, drop the belly, draw the heart through toward the top of the mat, melt the shoulder blades behind the heart, nice. Exhale, drop the head round the spine, and you could keep the eyes closed the whole time if that felt safe to you. Inhale, heart rises, crown of the head lifts, tail lifts. Beautiful breath, you guys. Exhale, round the spine, drop the head, go up and in, and just 2 more like this. Inhale, heart forward, the tips of the shoulder blades melt behind the heart. Exhale, drop the head, round the spine, low belly lifts up and in, head hangs toward the mat. Inhale, heart forward, last time, collarbones spread wide. As you exhale, drop the head, round the spine, dome the back, lift the sides of the waist. On the inhale, coming back to a flat back, find yourself in that beautiful in-between place. There's a little lift of the low belly. Then on the inhale, send your right arm straight up toward the sky as if you could stack your right shoulder directly on top of your left. Take a deep breath in, spread the right collarbone wide across the chest, and then thread the right arm underneath the left. So today in this yin yoga practice, we're going to work with two of the most important links in the body, the shoulders and the hips. So just giving these two important points really good attention and time to release and let go of any tension or atrophy that might be there. You could keep your left arm just as it is, or if you felt like it made sense to extend it towards straight, you could do that. Some of you could even wrap the arm behind the back, and we have all different variations here. Anna's got her arm extended out straight. Marielle has her arm wrapped behind her back. And then the boys have their hands in front of their faces, and it's perfect. Everyone's getting exactly what they need today out of their practice as they breathe down the right shoulder. Just giving the right shoulder a good dose of breath. So often we spend so much time in our head and our mind space, and the shoulders, the head, the neck, the jaw just become congested by spending time in the thinking mind. So you're really allowing that space to open up and soften as you breathe deep. If the left arm's wrapping behind the back, send the left arm back up toward the sky, and then place it gently down onto the mat. Together, sliding the left hand back in front of the face, press firmly into the left hand to come back to a steady tabletop pose, all fours. Same thing second side. Inhale the left arm to the sky, open the chest wide, spread the collarbone across the heart. Exhale, thread the left arm underneath the right. The left temple rests down toward the mat, and you have the same options here. You could extend the right arm forward toward the top of the mat. You could reach the right arm up and wrap it behind the back. But different sides of the body have different constitutions, different injuries. So you just want to honor what this side is communicating to you. So with the eyes closed and the breath really deep, sense that you could move the breath down the left shoulder. Across the outer left shoulder, you can open up that space and really use the mind to direct the breath to the places where maybe you're experiencing sensation in the shape. At any point in time, if you find that the mind catches a thought, it gets a little bit distracted, it's just an invitation to come back to the next breath. And that's all it is. It doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. Doesn't mean that you have to give up. It just simply means that you could give more priority to the breath. We're human, we have thoughts, it's okay. If the right arm's behind the back, bring it back up toward the sky, and then gently rest it back down toward the mat. Right hand slides in front of the face, press back to all fours. As the fingers spread wide, really gently here, just tuck the toes and press back, downward facing dog. Sit bones lift, inner thighs spin back, and we're really only going to be in this shape 2 times in this practice. So as you come into your down dog, you might be really ready for it to be still, and that could be really sweet. If you feel like it needs a little bit of movement, you need to bend a knee, you need to bicycle it out, that's fine too. Just listen. Listen to your breath, listen to intuition. It's always going to tell you exactly what you need. And then in your own time, coming into a still down dog, if you took some movement into the shape, inhale the right leg up toward the sky, just lifting the heel the height of the hip. As you exhale, step the right foot forward toward the right thumb and gently lower the left knee down behind the left hip. Making sure that you're not on top of the kneecap, you've got to slide that knee back. Then heel toe the right foot to the right a little bit. Bring both hands to the inside edge of the right foot. As you bring both hands to the inside edge of the right foot, you could stay upright with both arms towards straight. You could lower down onto the forearms if that felt like it was the right place. Keep hugging the right knee in toward the right shoulder. And if the floor felt like it was a little bit far away, you could just add that block right underneath the forearms, and it gently just brings the floor up to meet you so that you have the support you need. So we spent some time in the shoulders, and now we just drop back down into the hips. And the hips are the biggest joint in the body, a place that is often considered our storage unit. And it's normal for some of the more what we would consider red emotions to arise. So watch what comes up. That's really what yoga is all about. It teaches us to watch what arises, to be with it without needing to react to it. That we can have the experience of something coming up, maybe even the unexpected, and that with the wave of breath, we can just as easily watch it float away again. As you take a moment here, you might stay just like this. Some of you might start to really gently pivot the toes, the right toes toward the right a little bit, rolling onto the blade of the right foot, just deepening into the hip a tiny bit. And that's really personal. It might be a lot for some of us. It might just be an inch or so. We could even stay with the first shape as we just continue to energetically send breath down into the hip. Deep, smooth sounds of the breath. Even here, and especially with your face close to the floor, you can really hear that breath as you gently drag it in. If you pivoted to the blade of the foot, gently seal the foot back down toward the mat, point the toes ahead, and then one hand at a time, press your arms towards straight, really gently lifting the chest. With both arms straight, the right knee hugging in, take a big inhale at the top, bend the left knee, reach back with the right hand, take a hold of the top of the foot or the ankle. If you have the ankle, softly flex the foot and start to descend the pelvis forward as if you could gently press the sacrum toward the top of the mat. Roll the right shoulder back, just a deep quadricep stretch across the top of the left hip. Take one more big inhale, deep breath as you open wide. Exhale, softly release the left foot back down toward the mat. Right hand comes to the outside edge of the right foot. Heel toe the right foot over toward the left side of the mat. Open the right knee to the right. Single pigeon pose, gaze back, make sure your left toes are pointing straight back. Take a deep inhale at the top and exhale, forward fold out and down. Now, if for any reason, coming into single pigeon, move that into your knee instead of your hip. Like Grant here, you can come onto your back and you'll really gently just cross your right ankle over your left knee. And as the right thigh wraps open toward the top of the room, you'll just take the hands behind the left thigh and take the same pose on the back. In either shape, you're gonna get a really good deep stretch into the right hip. And that's the place that we're working. So see if the belly can be soft. See if maybe the eyes can close. And it's kind of a beautiful thing to watch, how the energy of the body tries to help us out. So notice if your jaw starts to tense. If the hinge of your jaw starts to get tighter, if the contours of your face start to contract in any way. And could you soften the face in the same way that you direct the breath into the hip? And it's all connected. You know, and there's kind of a beautiful thing that starts to happen, that we start to move past the intensity, or maybe even past the boredom that comes up in a pose. And once we get beyond that, we stay with the stillness, we start to find freedom. We start to find some liberation. And that's really why so many of us come to yoga. So if you start to feel the urge to fidget or to move, can you watch that urge come up? And then can you just as easily watch it fall away again? But we're so addicted to distraction. And watch that addiction rise. And then see if you can really simply extend another invitation back to the breath. And that this practice really is a meditation in motion. And anytime we meditate, we have a form of anchor. And your anchor is your breath. Calming your mind, calming your body as you drop in. Very gently on your next inhale, starting to deepen the breath, walk the hands back in, straighten the arms, lift the chest, softly tuck the back left toes, lift the left knee up and off the mat, and step back to downward facing dog. If you're on your back, rolling to the side, rolling back onto the hands and knees, tucking the toes and shifting to downward facing dog. And just sense the shift that's already taken place, that you've taken time to get still, to get quiet, and that your energy has shifted as we head over to the left side. Inhale the left leg up and back. Very gently step the left foot forward, lower the right knee down behind the right hip, heel toe the left foot to the left, and bring both hands into the inside edge of the left foot. And then maybe you stay up on your arms, maybe you lower down onto your forearms, or maybe you bring a block under the forearms for support. And as you land into the hip stretch on the left side, do the same thing, a little scan through the body. Are you clenching the fingers? Are you clenching the jaw? Is there some form of effort or energy that you can willingly surrender and release? So in yoga, we know that the end of each pose ends with the word asana. And asana often is translated to pose or posture, but really we know what it means is to sit still. So as we come into any shape, whether it's a yin yoga practice or a strong vinyasa flow practice, can we sit still in the posture? Can we let the fidgeting go? Can we let the emailing in the head go? Can we let the busyness go? So we move into a true state of being rather than doing. And there are times where it's going to be hard, times where we want to be busy, we want to be moving. But we know these deep stretches keep us flexible in the body, flexible in the heart, able to keep doing the things that we really love. Maybe you start to roll onto the outside edge of the left foot if you haven't already, the toes shifting to the left, the hip opening up a little bit. And that's an option. It doesn't mean that you go there today. Just see what the hip has to say. And as you're ready, spinning the sole of the left foot back down toward the mat, the left toes pointing straight ahead. Press the arms towards straight as you rise and lift the chest. Very gently bend the back right knee, reach back with the left hand, take a hold of the top of the foot or the ankle, and then roll the left shoulder back. Open the chest up. Allow there to be beautiful, just a really gentle spreading of the left collarbone wide across the heart. Gentle leaning back of the head. Take one more big inhale, deep breath. Very softly release the right foot back down to the mat. Both hands to the mat as you heel toe the left foot all the way over to the right wrist, or very gently coming onto your back for reclining pigeon if that's a better place for you. If you come into full single pigeon, the right toes reach straight toward the back of the mat. You take a deep inhale at the top, and then exhale, forward fold and melt. Belly soft, head heavy. And if it feels safe for you, if it feels okay, closing the eyes. And honoring why you come to your mat. So you've carved out this little corner of time to be in practice today. And as still as you look from the outside, could you be a little bit more still on the inside? Just really gently exhaling away anything that you don't need in this moment. Thoughts about things outside this practice, thoughts about the past or the future. And see if you can let there be a good, deep release. And the beautiful thing about letting go is anytime we let go, we make room for something new. So as you get still, you open the hip back up. Just know that you're making space to welcome something new in, energetically and both physically. And beautifully, guys, nice stillness. On the inhale, start to walk the hands back in, rise and lift the chest as you straighten the arms, tuck the right toes, very gently step back to down dog or roll to the side, come back to the knees, and shift back. As you pause in down dog, allow the inner hand to root to the mat. And then on the inhale, forward to upper push-up plank pose. And then maybe use the knees or not. Exhale, lower slow all the way down onto the mat. And as you rest the body down onto the mat, release the tops of the feet and reach the right arm out of the right shoulder, the palm facing down onto the floor. And your palms just kind of like an anchor rooting down into the mat as we come back into the shoulder. Gently bend the left knee, and as you bend the left knee, it's like the left heel is coming toward the left sit bone. And then very gently, you're gonna roll to your right, allowing the top of the left foot to land on the floor behind you just offside of your mat. And this is enough. This might be plenty for your right shoulder. A lot of us are gonna stay right here and give the right shoulder a couple of breaths. Or maybe you'll reach the left arm toward the sky, and maybe you'll interlace the hands behind the back. And Marielle has taken that variation here, and it's a really deep shoulder stretch. So as that left shoulder rolls back, maybe the fingers interlace behind the back, but that's a really personal thing. So both are valid, both are great places to be as we just take a couple of breaths. And just these two links that work together, the hips and the shoulders, helping really, ultimately, to connect us to our center, to our core. Take one more deep inhale here. If the hands are interlaced, gently place the left hand back in front of the face. Very softly rolling back onto the belly, reach the left leg straight back, and then very gently reach the left arm out of the left shoulder, palm facing down. Right hand slides underneath the right shoulder, softly bend the right knee. As you bend the right knee, drop the right foot to the outside edge of the left hip, the left calf, as if you were starting to roll towards your back. And the same option here, this shoulder might be different. It would be great to stay in this shape. Or if you have a little bit of extra flexibility, the right arm might reach up and the fingertips might interlace. But as the eyes close, let the body get heavy under the weight of gravity, just a good few deep doses of breath. Body soft, breath really smooth and balanced. Take one more deep inhale here. If the fingers are interlacing, gently release the right hand back in front of the face, and very softly rolling back onto the belly, the right leg reaches straight back to meet the left. Draw both hands underneath the shoulders, and then as gently as you can, press to all fours. And as you rise to all fours, crawl the knees forward, cross the ankles behind you, roll onto the sit bones, and send both legs straight out ahead. Flex the toes toward the face, inhale the arms to the sky, deep breath as you lift. Exhale, forward fold, dive down in half. And if there's any tension in the back at all, give the knees a little bend, and with a little bend in the knees, you just start to take the pose out of the back. Heart drawing forward. And see if you can just soften the shoulders down the back. And with the eyes closed, direct the breath into the hamstrings, direct the breath into the back body. The backs of the legs, the low back, the mid back, all receiving really sweet, fluid, deep breaths. And again, yin yoga is not about forcing or jamming yourself into a pose. It really is about finding a balance for yourself. And it's a fine balance, a balance between being bored in a pose versus working too hard. Can you find that sweet spot right in the middle where there's maybe a sensation of stretch, a touch into the muscular structure of the body, without pushing past any boundaries or limits? And really, that's only something that you can decide. That's something you have to find for yourself. Take one more deep inhale here. Roll all the way back up as you exhale, and very gently roll all the way onto the back. Hug and squeeze the knees into the chest. As you squeeze the knees into the chest, bring the forearms around the knees, bring the forehead up to meet the knees, squeeze the fingers, squeeze the toes. Take one last deep inhale through the nose all the way to the very top, and let it go. Extending the legs, extending the arms. Spin the palms to face up toward the sky and close the eyes. And it's always beautiful when we begin a practice in child's pose to bring it full circle in Shavasana, corpse pose. The cycle of practice often mirroring the cycle of life. Now's your time just to rest fully still, deep. Very gently start to deepen the breath. Softly sweep the arms up and over the head, extending through the fingertips and the toes. Gently hug the knees into the chest. And as you hug the knees into the chest, very sweetly just rock your way back up to sit into a gentle, easy, cross-legged seat. Bring the palms together to touch at the heart, bowing the eyes in. And we've often heard the saying that if we don't bend, the world will bend us. Today you've practiced flexibility, and you have the opportunity to invite your ability to be flexible in all situations with you off the mat and out into your day. Your breath, that through line, just very gently carrying the way. On the inhale, placing the hands to the forehead for clarity of thought, the fingertips to the lips for thoughtfulness of speech, and the hands to the heart for consistency of action, allowing your practice to guide you through everything you're thinking, saying, and doing. Take a deep inhale through the nose. Open the mouth. Namaste.